All right, so I think everyone that's popping in to check out this program I built, I wanted to kind of get this out there and show what I'm doing to kind of track some of the work that I'm applying to, the jobs, the companies, roles, and so forth. But just to do one quick thing, got to give some props to the office manager. You'll see here, this is Andy, the office manager, formerly the office mascot. Um, you'll see him from time to time, and he does do my performance reviews, so make sure you leave positive feedback. Just kidding. As long as I feed him and keep him alive, I usually get a good review where I have the pleasure of him nudging me and asking him to pet him. So, but enough about Andy. I know he's cute. Let's get into the meat of what this is. So just a little quick background of why I'm doing this. So basically, there's a comment in one of my short videos, which basically, talked about how people were ghosting applicants, either, when an interview is supposed to happen, or you just don't get an email canned or from a human that says like, hey, we're moving forward with somebody else, or we're not handling this filling of this position at this time. And so I was just like, that kind of sucks. And I wanted to kind of start tracking that from my own perspective on what I'm experiencing, so maybe other people can see this and they can also kind of share in the experience. Maybe they're also being ghosted a lot, or thinking they're hitting the, get that interview and do those things. So what you see here is that application tracker, and if your eyes have already been darting, you probably already see kind of what I'm tracking here between the total applications, who I've heard back from, who's ghosted, some metrics and things like that. So what I want to do first is talk about how I built this. So I don't code. I don't know a single thing about coding. I use Codium Windsurf, and I just chat with AI and it builds these out and things like that. So it helps me kind of produce the product that I want, but I also set up my own local backend using Mongo to kind of make sure that anything I put in does save here. So as of right now, this is only live on my local machine. This isn't out in the world, but we'll see what ends up happening there. So to start, I guess the first thing to do after you've seen the dashboard is, let me just get an application added. I'm going to go and apply live here, not on screen but off screen, to a job that I had already found. Fortunately, it's an easy application, so I'm just going to do that really quick here. So what I do then is, bear with me. So the idea is after you basically submit an application to a job, you take what you do. So I just applied here. So this is the job position. This is who it was on LinkedIn. So this is actually, I believe it's probably a job forum or a company, a recruiter that does this. So 10, it is 0313 2026, and then just put a note in of who it was from, and then I add the application. Done. It's as simple as that. As you can see, total applications jumped up to 26. Total heard back, still 7. I haven't heard anything back at this point, and then ghosted. So from here, what you can do is I set up this companies field, because we're going to get back to this dashboard. In companies, I can see everything, every individual company that I applied for. As you can see here, the status, whether I applied, heard back, ghosted, when I applied, and then let's say I need to delete it, I goof something up, it's there. If I click into a company, you'll see that there's some additional information here. So I still have the position, date applied, and then response type, interview stage 1, 2, 3. I never know where that is, and if I want to put more notes in, then if I edited it and when. So if I click on update, you can see here the response types are just, I'm awaiting a response, a human got back to me, canned email, or no response, I got ghosted. If I do make it to an interview stage one, what was that? Was it an AI screening? Was it a human that I got to talk to? Did I just get rejected at that stage, or did I not pass screening? Stage two is, did I talk to a recruiter, maybe a hiring manager, or maybe I was rejected after stage one? And then stage three is, who did I talk with? Was it finally a hiring manager rejected? Um, I'm not sure how often I'll use all three of these. I know that in my experience, I've gone through 4 or 5 interview stages because it just depends on how the company runs things. So we're going to hit cancel there. We're going to go back. You can search for companies here. I'm sure I can make this look a little bit nicer, so any feedback or anything else you'd like to see in this screen or even here, feel free to drop a comment with that. So what does this all do? So as I said, total applications, that is specifically once I add an application, it's there. So I've done 26 total. I think I'm missing a few. I couldn't find emails that I'd done before building this, so I think I'm a bit higher than this, but this is where it's at right now. I know that I've applied to at least 4 jobs this week. Unfortunately, I was kind of building this out, so I didn't apply to as many jobs, but I kind of keep track of it there. We're going to come back to total heard back because I think I can do this better. Ghosted. So Ghosted has a default process to it. I've decided that if I haven't heard back from a company within about 21 days, so that means I didn't get an email saying that, hey, we've moved on with a different candidate, or the position's no longer open, or hey, we want to set up an interview. If that doesn't happen and I don't go in here and update that company, it automatically just it defaults to ghosted. It is a ghosted position at that point, and it shows up here, and that's kind of how that goes. And then for tracking purposes, I called it the corporate hiring scorecard because it kind of gives me a general idea of like what's going on, why is it taking so long. And as you can see, my current response rate is about 27%, just under 27%. I've only heard back from 7 companies out of the 26. Of those 7, we've got this ghosted rate. 53.8% have ghosted me, and there's a bit to that. So the way that this works, I had to write this down to look at it. So let me find that real quick here. So I have different areas on what this is and why you see like this HR vanish down here. And so the way that this works is 0 to 25% that's good range that I've put it in. And what that is that HR showing up. Somebody in the HR department seems to at least care enough that they're trying to make it seem like a human is interacting, or even if it's a canned email, at least they have what I would say their stuff together so that people that are applying to positions aren't just being left in the dark. We're humans too, and we're trying to find a job to, we want to make money, we have bills to pay, things like that. So when companies are just keeping us in the loop, it helps. Even if it's a bad thing, like we didn't get the job, at least we know, like, hey, let's move on to the next things to worry about it. If you're in that 25 to 50%, I call that the radio silence is rising. So it's kind of worrisome that more companies are just ghosting and I'm not hearing anything back. And that to me says, like, in a corporate, hiring world, that's not good because they're just playing with you now. And they're leaving you there in radio silence, like, hey, am I going to get this or not, or am I going to get an interview? Especially when you're applying to a bunch of jobs. 50% up, which is where we're at, that basically is HR vanish. That means that, to me, I take this as these companies know that they've got hundreds of people probably applying to the job, and you're not a human being per se, you're just a document. And the only time you don't become a document is when they decide to move forward with you and they want to put their best foot forward. And so they're trying to, make a great impression for the ones that they actually want to bring in for an interview, and they kind of leave a bad impression for the ones that don't get it. So AI gatekeeper rate here, this just means, like, it kind of ties into this, which we'll go into, but how many times do you run into an AI bot, whether to take an interview or it's clearly a canned email, not from an individual, but it's just set up that way to kind of come across. Human interaction is, did a human email you, or did you talk to a human while going through this from the ones you heard back? And then this one is just kind of funny. It's like the longest ghost. So I applied for a job through, I guess this is JoBot, and it's been 59 days since I applied to that job, and I never heard anything back. And I believe JoBot is a recruiting company, so they're a third party that helps find candidates for companies. But you would think that something would have come up from this, um, and it hasn't. Also, I took 2 AI screenings. One was through JoBot. Another one, it wanted me to do it, and I counted it towards that, but it kept saying, "Oh no, you don't need to do this anymore." So it was really confusing because when you can't talk to a human, it's like, well, this kind of stinks. Why am I even bothering with this type thing? So it's kind of where these metrics come in. I'm sure I could probably do more and go from there. And so kind of get up to this total heard back section here. I wasn't sure what to do here because I want to track who I've heard from. And I wanted to track it so that I know, like, hey, out of all the companies, how many have I heard from? Was it just from AI screening, or did a human get in contact with me? And things like that. I'm wondering if I could put more here. Rejected, stage 1 was it rejected, stage 2 was it rejected, things like that. And so there's probably a few things I need to get added here. I don't know if I need to put something in that says canned email, but I would not mind a lot of feedback on what I could showcase here more to kind of give me some metrics or to showcase stuff. I don't know if I have do something here with a recent, will show up here for the recent heard back. This number isn't high enough for it to really matter or anything like that. I did forget. I just noticed this five this week. So every week this number should change, and it's just going to track how many companies ghosted me within that week. So far this week, 5 companies have entered into that 21-day period. So haven't heard back from them, with the most recent being this cofactor for senior customer support specialist and things like that. So with that said, I'll kind of leave it there. Any feedback is appreciated on what I can do to kind of improve this or make it better. Or if hey, just stop doing these videos or anything like that. I want to thank everyone right now, though, that stuck around to watch this. 1, 2, who's going along on this journey with me. Between myself, my wife has some clients that she's talked to that have been out of jobs, and it just seems like this has become the norm for looking for a job, where we've really entered a place where it's no longer an interaction between humans. It's, hey, we're only going to put our best foot forward from a company standpoint for those that we deem we want to partner with. And I think we need to get away from that. I think we all deserve respect in some way, and one of those is just to drop a line to you when you've applied, like, hey, this has been filled. Again, it could be a canned email. I'm not 100% against those, but it's just so that you alleviate the guesswork for the person looking for a job. So with that said, again, I'll leave it there. I don't know how many more of these long form videos I'll do. I definitely would love to have more conversations and share my thoughts and things like that. So until next time, keep looking for those shorts. That's kind of probably how I'll do most of my stuff. And subscribe if you want. Anything helps. So I appreciate it, and everyone take it easy.